you got to keep painting. Like that's my biggest thing right now is, hey, Mandy, you may not like what's going on right now. It may not be your best work, but no matter what, you got to keep painting because this will serve. Maybe not the way I want it to. Maybe I'm going to be a little more uncomfortable and really take my life in a direction I didn't see. I have to believe, and this is that hope that it will serve.
Welcome back to How Are You Arriving? Today begins a 4-part series called The Resilience Factor. What does it really mean to be resilient? In the next 4 episodes, we'll dive into what resilience looks like in everyday life, in our relationships, in the middle of internal obstacles, and during big transitions. And then we'll examine the growth that comes after the hardship and struggle. You'll hear real stories and practical tools, of course, because I'm always about the tools that you can apply in your own life. So subscribe now and join me as we explore how resilience helps us bounce back. Welcome to How Are You Arriving? Conversations with Christina Young. After 13 years of leading weekly parenting groups, I'm bringing my favorite question to the mic. How are you arriving? These honest conversations go beyond small talk into family dynamics, parenting, wellness, tough decisions, aging, and what it means to live authentically. If you're craving real talk with heart, you're in the right place. Welcome back to How Are You Arriving? I am thrilled to welcome Mandy DiMarzo here on Zoom with me. Hi, Mandy.
Hi, how are you?
So good. I'm so happy to have you. Mandy is a relentless athlete, wellness speaker, and kickass fitness instructor. And we are right here in the middle of my podcast series called The Resilience Factor. And Mandy's joining me for this particular episode, which is called Transitional Resilience, Finding Strength in Change with the one and only Mandy DiMarzo. There's a few things you need to know about her before we get going here. First of all, Mandy's tough. She's a TEDx speaker. She's a wellness expert. She's a former Division I soccer player who spent years distance running and doing triathlons, something I will never do. She has overcome an eating disorder and endured the strain of countless injuries. Mandy's made the pivotal choice to stop striving for the unattainable and instead embrace the power within her. She shifted her focus to nourishing her body and her mind, ultimately creating something called Burn, which I know so many people are familiar with. It's a transformative full body workout designed to build strength, endurance, and resilience. Now, if you raise kids in Greenwich, Connecticut, like I did, or if you spend any time in the Hamptons or anywhere near Colgate University, there's no way that you've never heard of Mandy DiMarzo. Everybody's heard of Mandy. She is a force to be reckoned with. I have to tell a quick story. The first time that I encountered Mandy was at Equinox Gym in Greenwich, Connecticut. We were both working out very regularly, and some very generous observer mistook me for you one day, which I have never forgotten because you could kick my ass. And I was like, oh, this is the greatest compliment of all time. Mandy and I had a friendly, like, hey, how's it going kind of relationship at the gym in those days. And recently we've had the really good fortune of getting to know each other a little bit better. And with that, I think we're going to remind each other of what this topic is all about. We're talking about resilience today. And I was just so grateful when you said yes, Mandy, to being on this podcast. And what I want to do is start with the definition of resilience that I think works for this conversation, which is resilience is the capacity to adapt well in the face of adversity, stress, or significant challenges, bouncing back not just to where you were, but often even a little bit beyond. So, Mandy, tell us about a recent transition or obstacle in your life that has demanded resilience.
What an introduction. Oh my goodness. And that's a compliment to me, not you. Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation for a lot of reasons. I own that resilient piece. I think resilience isn't about that you're not broken, but how you fill those cracks, because we all have cracks. And I'm especially excited today because I'm in the middle of a very resilient, challenging moment of my life.
Indeed.
And you always hear about the comeback story after, and that most of our lives are in the in between and in the waiting room, and I'm in the waiting room right now.
Yes.
I have faced a pretty serious diagnosis that has really challenged and been very confronting to me, and it's something that is not really something that you recover or heal from. And so, amidst this uncertainty, I'm sharing with you that I have a diagnosis called lymphedema. And it's really, today's not just about my diagnosis, but it's about anybody having some sort of challenge or adversity where there's so much uncertainty around it.
Yes.
Mine just happens to be an attack of my lymphatic system. And it's something where your lymphatic system drains and is proper plumbing for all the toxins and fluids in your body. And mine's not working correctly. And so as I wait for more tests and more doctor's appointments to find out exactly what I'm facing, I'm really having a lot of internal dialogue with myself on how I take this on, this moment, and how I do the day to day that I have prided myself on strength and showing up for you and the best version of you, and how you grow through what you go through. But I'm in the moment of growing or trying to grow through these major growing pains.
I'm so grateful that you're willing to talk to us while you're deep in the middle of it. You haven't come out the other side yet. And when you and I spoke a couple weeks ago and you agreed to do this, I really stopped and took note of how courageous that is, that you don't know how the story ends. And we as humans don't like things where we don't know how it ends. We're not comfortable with that. And here you are being willing to share. And it's incredibly inspiring and courageous of you. So thank you for letting us in kind of into what's happening in your head here.
Well, thank you for saying that. I mean, it's messy. It not only is it not linear, but as a lifelong athlete, I would get injured, but that would be very quiet. I wouldn't share that. I would just reemerge and it would be like nothing ever happened.
Mhm.
And people would say, "How do you never get injured?" I'm like, "Oh, I've had every injury." And I realized I never was forthcoming about how I handled that piece of it. And it's only been recently with um a lot of different, breaking bones, tearing muscles, I would say, "Oh, I give it purpose. I give this time purpose. So if I can't do the moves I want to do, and I love movement, what am I going to do? I'm going to grow in a different space." Right. And for a really long time, I just have not been able to articulate what this looks like for me, because my life has forever just changed direction where I am now with this. This is something that goes with management. I'll have to rely on a lot of people outside of myself, which that's very uncomfortable for me.
Very.
A lot of this is very uncomfortable, and something where it feels very chaotic, and yet I'm pretty stuck where movement has always been my reach, and where I gain my clarity and sanity and therapy. And now that's being put to the test right now.
It really
So,
is.
yeah.
It's remarkable how many tests you're supposed to manage simultaneously right now. So many. What is it that you're finding you're doing to manage the uncertainty?
I like to speak a lot to my athletic self. I grew up playing sports my whole life, and I played soccer, and we would do these drills over and over and over again. And anytime I'm coaching kids, they're like, "Why do we have to keep doing this?" I'm like, "Because you're training yourself for the games and the chaos when you can't use your right foot and you're forced to use your left foot." And no, my dominant foot was right. I never liked practicing with my left. I was not very good. I couldn't kick it as far. I wasn't sure. I wasn't confident. And I'm finding right now I am forced to play with my left foot. And that feels, I'm almost like, "Don't pass me the ball," because I'm just used to
Yeah.
us at this moment. And so then I really hone in on those habits and rituals that I stacked at the very beginning. And you stack that practice and those drills in order to manage this chaos. And so I'm leaning on the smallest of habits. It's just like doing the things that I did every morning when I was running 15 miles a day. And that's getting up, drinking water, making my bed, making a list of what I'm going to do of the day, setting up for a strong day, even though the strong looks much different right now. And I have to be pretty gentle with that definition as I redefine it for me.
Mm-hmm. Are you good at finding compassion for yourself right now? Are you hard on yourself? What's your stance toward
Yeah.
yourself?
Terrible. Sometimes you kind of say the things that you need to start to believe. And I'm really, my strength and what I've really built my entire brand on is empowering others. And whoo, when you have to empower yourself and
It's
show
a
yourself
whole
grace,
different
oh
story.
my oh my gosh, I just feel like such an imposter in this space right now.
That's really well said, Mandy.
Yeah.
Really well said. So let's talk about that for a second because I talk a lot with clients about the imposter syndrome, and I've had a therapist say to me once in my life, it is the number one most frequent symptom or diagnosis or name or label of any female client that she's ever worked with. It's so terribly common. And one of the ways to manage imposter syndrome is to reveal it, to name it, right? Like, same as one of the ways to get rid of shame is just to
Mhm.
name everything, to expose it. And so, what happens to you when we name aloud right now? Like, yeah, Mandy's like trying to like show up the way she tells other people to show up, but she's struggling with it. Like, how does that even sound to hear it aloud?
It actually feels freeing in a way to just say things out loud. And I feel like um, that imposter syndrome, when I gave my TEDx talk on my eating disorder, bringing that out from the shadows into the light, that was a chapter of really owning something that many people would say is shameful
Mhm.
and almost embarrassing, and saying, no, this is part of me.
Mhm.
And even right now, that it feels like, instead of me really attaching to the word grit, I've always loved that word and I've defined like that. I'm defining with willingness, and willingness to show up um, in this very uncertain sort of brokenness. So imposter syndrome is the old me that really strive for perfection, that type A, that it's just not attainable or sustainable.
Mhm.
And so I'm okay with that label, and I'm okay just letting go of that label amongst a lot of other labels that have either been placed on me from others or I've placed on myself,
Mm.
that I've found that labels do not serve, because they just box you in. And I'm finding right now I need to allow myself to evolve. And in order to do that, there is not a single label that will serve me right now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering also how you start each day knowing this is unfamiliar territory. You don't know where it's headed. You haven't been here before. It doesn't sound like there are a whole lot of people holding your hand and saying, "Oh, no, no, here's the thing that's around the next corner, and then around the next corner we do this." From my conversations with you, you've had to do a lot of investigative work yourself to find your way. How do you handle that?
Not very well. I mean, like, this has been a lot of tears and a lot of, I don't know how to do this. And the anatomy of how my days look have started with just accepting I'm at the mercy of a lot of unknown. I'm at the mercy of a lot of people's schedules, that it's not their whole world, but it is mine at the moment. That's been a type of surrender that I've had to really adjust to, and really harness my energy of where I should be concerned and worrying, and what does not serve me.
Mm.
And I have to say this, there's been stages, and we spoke at the very beginning stages, and you get a diagnosis of any kind, or you have a life moment of any kind, because within this story is somebody's struggle that they need to understand they're not alone, but you get this. And the first stage was total shock. And then it was just denial. And so in that period of time, I wasn't even able to research or look into this, because I was almost just, practicing that art of compartmentalism. And in order to just get through the first few days of it, I just had to stay in my space.
Yes.
What was beautiful about that, before I got to that next stage, what was beautiful about that is the people around me, there was a rallying that they started doing the research and the reading for me and sharing nuggets that they felt helpful. It's a time sensitive diagnosis, so my back is up against time. And in that part of this process, I have learned I need to show up better for my friends. And there is a lot of different ways to show up when somebody's struggling. Friends sent me.
Wait, I just want to pause on the fact that people did research on your behalf. And I can't say that that would necessarily be my response. And I admire that so much. That's like a new level of like, let me see what I can do to contribute and take care of you. I'm more the like, let me bring you soup, let me bring you something, let me take care of your dogs, that's a really lovely way to show up for someone.
It moved me in so many ways because I learned I've been doing that the wrong way. I'm the one that writes, "Hey, let me know what you need." Right? Which is actually not helpful.
No, and I feel like we've seen a million articles on like don't know, because it puts the onus, the burden on the person suffering, right?
Right? So I have friends that are doing the research. I have friends that are literally sending me the places that I need to make an appointment to or offering to call or go with. I have friends, I'm on different medications, that are sending me recipes that, because I can't have certain vitamin K and stuff like that, they're sending me recipes that they've tried and true that says, "Hey, Mandy, this would be something, I just made it last night. You can eat this." Like, oh my God. So for the first part of this whole, this process was I learned how to show up because I never did that before. After the shock and just the denial, then I realized that I have to be my own biggest advocate. This is my body, my life, and I need to participate in a strong way, the way I show up in all my workouts and how I show up to different activations that I do. I need to show up here in the most uncomfortable space to advocate for myself. Because
you were able to tap into that same place in your brain that you use for a rigorous workout or teaching a rigorous workout. You tapped into that same place and said, now I need you to generalize those skills over to this lane.
I did. It's a different kind of muscle memory that was just in shaping my day. Instead of being in the workout recording burn workouts, I, set aside a time that I was going to do the research, make the phone calls, make a lot of calls with insurance companies and doctors. And that was going to feel like strong for me in that moment. It's like we've talked about, it's a constant conversation that I have with myself, about, what does success and strong look like? And also I have to figure out a way to respect how I'm showing up, respect how I look right now, respect how I'm moving right now. This is something that's very new to me, to not, have everything be linear and working in the direction that I want it to. And so it's more of not the muscle memory per se. It's more of that emotional flex and the kindness flex I'm struggling with that is the most important of all.
Absolutely.
Really.
Yeah. Before we move on, I want to go backwards a second and talk about that tendency of our brain when we're dealing with grief, which I think we could call this some type of grief. That we move into denial is something that I find absolutely fascinating about our brain, and how when all of us experience grief, even the grief of losing our driver's license, let's say, there's always that little first or second response of denial of like, no. I'm sure it's over there. I put it over there. But in a way, denial serves our brain so, so well. And it's such a smart adaptation because it lets our brain settle for a second into this new world of like, no, it might be true. And I know you're denying it, but it might be true. It's like it gives you this little pause in like, while you're entertaining this whole thing of denial, like, no, it's not really happening. Like it's slowly settling in. And it's just always fascinating to me to learn about when people witness their own state of denial. Do you see it as a good thing?
oh, big time. I guess I've labeled it perspective, but it starts with a lot of denial, and it has for me in the stages of this. Um, right when the first diagnosis, the first doctor said it, complete denial. You must be wrong. That gave me a moment to be like, to appreciate everything that I do have with my body and it can do with my body, but I'm going to get it back to where it needs to be.
Mm.
This next diagnosis where it's one leg is right now, one leg, is really compromised, but the diagnosis could be all limbs, my entire body. You talk about this stage of denial, and now I'll take that one leg being
Right.
compromised,
Right.
right?
Right. Instead of the
My
whole body.
brain, that's right. So my brain has, I think my brain has really just onboarded me, at my pace
Mm.
to this. It's hard. It is hard. Like, it is hard. It
Let's
is
talk
hard.
about the hard for a second. Mandy.
Yeah.
What are some of the daily habits or coping mechanisms or hacks that you've developed along the way? You've been managing this for how many months now?
Yeah, it's been since March. It's been
Okay.
since March,
I
so
mean,
more than 6 months.
it's
Yeah.
it's a good long chunk of time.
Yeah.
When we look at the Mandy pre-diagnosis and we look at the Mandy today, 6 months later, I'm sure there are vast differences.
Mm.
Could you tell us about one or two of those differences?
Hmm.
Even in terms of daily routines or daily thoughts.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences right now. The routines are tough. Like the routines center around this diagnosis. So I'm not really able to escape it because it starts first thing in the morning when I have to throw this compression legging on.
Mm.
It's not sexy. It's not cute. It's not comfortable. And it's an immediate reminder, that you're compromised and
Yep.
you are not well.
And this is with you. It's with you again today.
That's right. I guess I would say the other daily reminders is my schedule, is really packed with appointments, doctor's appointments, acupuncturist appointments, massage appointments, not the good kind of massage that you
Yeah.
want to have. And so, it's days that are spent at working on just getting to neutral.
Right. I was going to say, do you consider those appointments healing or do you see them as steps forward?
Yes, I see them. At first, I was resentful of them and I just was annoyed, that it was just interrupting my day. And
Yeah.
now, and I thought it was like blind hope. I got, within this progression of ebbs and flows, it got very dark. And I'm like, why am I even doing this? I mean, if the diagnosis is so grim, why am I even doing this? And I've decided that real hope is it's not blind optimism. It's grasping at straws for something because you need to have something.
Yeah.
So redefining these appointments, going from I'm weak and broken and need to rely on others to I'm being proactive about healing this body. And I've come so far and I continue to really find ways to love a body that for many years I did not appreciate and really put through the ringer.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, my days look a lot different. And I would say with participating in life, I've been hesitant for a while to put myself out there because I don't like what I look like and I don't like how I feel. But I realize a lot of that has been in my head. And so I just started to teach again in person, work with teams, work with my community. And I realized, oh my God, this is what I absolutely love to do. And this is not stopping me from the message that I want to share. And I can still empower others, even if I'm not feeling,
So I don't want to rush through this part because this is a pretty spectacular transition that you made from being, I don't want to be seen in public. I'm not comfortable with this new version of Mandy. There was some thought that likely occurred in your head that allowed you to say, no, we're okay. We're actually going to go shop out this version of Mandy. It's okay that she is out in public. Do you recall the thought that allowed for the transition?
Two things. Yes. And the answer is yes right away to that. It was almost overnight. I really grasped to quotes like you do. I know that you find quotes and it just gives words and it gives energy
Mhm.
where maybe you don't have them. There were two in particular. One was about just using the difficulty and using it towards your strength and saying, see, I see down the line that I'm I'm going to help others by saying whatever your nightmare is, whatever you think that personal hell of yours is that you don't think you can live through.
Mhm.
Um, I'm here to say that you can.
Mhm.
I'm in the mess still, but that is something that I thought, okay, if I want to empower people and really help them see that they can handle anything life throws their way, I need to start. And that doesn't start 6 months or a year down the line when I'm feeling more put together. It
Right.
starts by showing up and just letting the momentum of the message take you forward. So it was um, a quote about the difficulty in making that yours. And then also, you, if I'm waiting for every single appointment and diagnosis, I will wait my whole life
Yeah.
and I will be on the sidelines my whole life. And
Mhm.
I think it was that 1-2 punch where I was like, I could either take this time to sit on the sidelines, feel bad for myself, or really just get over that part of it and
Mhm.
recognize that, there are some things that I'm really good at and it has nothing to do with what I look like.
I want to talk to you about an organization I really admire here in Miami. If you're looking for a way to make a real difference, LEAP helps formerly incarcerated women, many of them moms, rebuild their lives through in-prison education, safe transitional housing, and job training. Learn more at leapforladies.org and be a part of a woman's second chance. Absolutely. It's also interesting to me. I'm wondering if this is the case for all of your followers, all of the burn devotees. I'm wondering if this makes you more relatable. It takes you off the pedestal. I know I and many others have had you on a fitness pedestal. And when we put people on a pedestal, they're not as relatable, and we can tell ourselves a very inaccurate story about, well, they don't suffer at all up there on that beautiful pedestal. They live
Mm.
the good life up there. And it's like somebody decided, like, no, actually, Mandy, we're going to kick you off the pedestal. You're going to
Yeah.
tumble down. But I'm wondering if that makes you more accessible to the people in your life.
Oh, I think so for sure. Whether somebody puts you up there or in your head, you don't feel like, you different stages of not feeling invincible or that you'll get through it or white knuckle. That's been basically my whole life. I'll just white knuckle through it.
Right.
And I do feel like, part of really feeling connected towards one another is being completely relatable, vulnerable, true, honest. I pride my friendships, relationships with them being pure and cracks and all.
Mhm.
This I feel pretty shattered. But instead of feeling broken with those cracks, I'm trying to figure out ways to fill that with really loving relationships, really kind of paring down maybe some access in my life that's not serving me and seeing this as a real point of change where I really saturate myself with loving, kind relationships, people, more dogs. God forbid I get more dogs, probably
Always.
will.
It is always the
Always,
solution to get more.
always, always.
I'm admiring your verb choice, like saturating yourself
Yeah.
is just like a fantastic and compassionate, healing, kind of way to think about what you're doing with intention. Like, no, I'm really just going to be surrounding myself with people who are my biggest cheerleaders and I can show my real true self to. And that's healing in itself, I think.
I think so. I mean, I think transitions of any kind are super messy. And it's almost like a wall of graffiti that it's layered of art and words and feelings and color, like I will say in dark moments, and you call it dark because there's not a lot of color
Yeah.
at all. It just feels really dark. And it's almost, it's just continue to remind yourself, you got to keep painting. Like that's my biggest thing right now is, hey, Mandy, you may not like what's going on right now. It may not be your best work, but no matter what, you got to keep painting because
Mm,
this will serve it. Maybe not the way I want it to. Maybe
right.
I'm going to be a little more uncomfortable and and really take my life in a direction I didn't see. But I have to believe, and this is that hope that it will serve. It's just, it really is hard to see what that looks like right now.
But I really find it fascinating, and it has to be indicative of some pretty incredible inner strength that in the midst of the not knowing, in the midst of the discomfort, getting used to so much that is new, there's that inner voice in you that is so aligned with serving that's giving you agency. You're like, let me hang something on that star of serving others. Where does that come from?
I think that act of service is deeply into. I feel the need to show up and give and have that. That's been forever. That's how Burn was born. This workout platform. This wasn't me, thinking, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start a business. This was haphazardly, pandemic hit and people needed to work out. And I'm like, this is my act of service. I know how to sweat. I can, that's where I can help. So I
Yep.
think
Super organic.
super organic, stepping into that space and being like, you know what? This actually feels really good because I'm empowering others, and you get out of your own way and mess. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of my detours in life, what I've realized is it really helps. It's that attitude is gratitude, but it really helps to get out of your own head, to get out of your own way. And I think you totally nailed it. I'm having a moment right now where why is it that I'm already thinking about how this will serve others?
Mhm.
Because I'm trying to get out of my own head in this
Totally.
place and just say, okay, you've lost a lot of control over a lot of parts of your life. So what can you harness that energy and silo it into? And you're making me realize that's why I'm energized as I'm going into the fall of what I can do with this
It,
mess.
it's already like a really beautiful silver lining of this story that we don't know the end to. Is that somehow it's in your nature already. You already know that. It's in your nature to serve, and you're already looking for, okay, in what ways can I take this mess of a situation that I did not choose, that was imposed upon me, and make it a way that I can serve. It's going to look really different than what I was thinking, but it doesn't mean that I can't still use it in a way to serve. I want to tell you a really quick story, Mandy.
Yeah.
There's great research I was just reading because I help a lot of parents of middle schoolers. And I just read such a cool study about when middle schoolers are struggling with their identity and they're not included in this friend group and they're feeling low about themselves, that the very, very best way to increase self-esteem is to have them serve others, whether it's their little baby cousin or the kid down the street who's only 3 and wants to start playing soccer, or they go read aloud at a preschool. Like, just beautiful research of like, and the whole point of the research is exactly what you just said. It's to get them out of themselves and out of their heads and serving others so that when they return to the self, they feel more cheerful, they feel optimistic, they feel a sense of agency, like all of those good things. And I love that somehow in this conversation, we're hitting on that as well. It's interesting.
I love that too. I love that too. And I think it's important at any age to understand that you are most qualified in life to help the person that you once were or the person you needed at a time. You know, to grow up to be a strong woman that maybe that younger version of you would have ran towards and really gravitated towards. Like, I love that full circle kind of thought process.
I want to
Um,
ask you a different question that still has to do with resilience. But when you think about some of the people in your life that you're very most close to, I wonder what character strengths they would identify in you that they are witnessing right now in this struggle. How would you name them? How would you articulate them?
Oh, that's great. I have not let a lot of people in at this moment. I will say that. I will say part of what I wanted to share with you today is connected to that. And that is because I'm facing this, I feel like I've kept a lot of people I love almost at arm's distance because I can't be that empathetic, compassionate, fun friend that I have been or support or love
Mm.
and I don't show up the way that I want to show up for people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think obviously the one people that are in my life would say she is an eternal optimist. She is finding the good right now in a really shit situation. And I think they feel like I don't see, I look at a circus mirror. I'm not seeing and it's not outside. It's more of like that internal,
Mm.
the internal things I might bring to the table that I'm just really totally unaware of that.
Right. Right.
I, I think, I think,
So I want to just touch on that optimism and remind you that if you're born an optimist, which is a really lucky gift and strength, it's such a protective buffer against things like depression. And so even in a time like this, where I would certainly say you're in crisis, having that sunny, optimistic mindset just already puts you ahead of the crowd in terms of like, wait a minute, that is an undeniable strength that is proven to be a buffer against depression. So like, kudos to you. And however you nature or nurture, you've got it. And like, that's a real blessing in this whole story. But I want to go back to your ability to lean on others and to present what you might consider to be your worst self, your unreliable self, your not as attractive self, your needy self. And do you have a history of showing up like that or not so much? And I guess I'm asking two questions, that one, and then also like, how good are you at accepting help?
Oh, terrible at accepting help. I can answer that right away. Terrible. Yeah, that's something like deeply ingrained. And I don't know I understand that sometimes you have to rewire in order to unwire what is really built innate inside of me. And that is like, I don't know if that's a weakness, accepting help. I don't know if,
I think it's
I don't want to,
habit. There's so much habit and imprinting.
yeah.
Do you believe when I say to you that it is an honor when we are tapped to help a friend? Do you believe that to be true?
Yes.
Like if you had a friend, let's pretend who just had a kid, a baby,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were like, you know what, I'm strapped, I didn't get any sleep. Would you just be able to make me some chicken soup and bring it over? I would argue, I don't think I know anybody who would be like, oh, what a pain. I
Right.
think everybody would be like, I'm so honored that you put me in the position of helping you, because in this day and age, we rarely do that to each other. And so I'm just wondering if we can like shift the angle that we look at the help variable and ask you, are you able to see it as you're actually providing your friends with an honor?
I love that. I would love to work that shift. I think it's like I don't want to be a burden, annoying, but you're totally right. If whenever any friend has relied or asked, you're like not just absolutely, but what else? And just
Yeah,
like, wow, okay, like I want to be that ride or die friend that's riding shotgun in the
exactly.
bad times.
Exactly.
I am that person, but I don't want, I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm fine.
But here's the thing, Mandy, it makes the rest of us feel like we matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
we all want to feel
Totally.
like we matter in the real hardcore ways, not in the little tiny ways. And so
Totally.
you have an opportunity right now, and this is not your job and this is
Yeah.
not your priority, but it's a little side hustle that you can consider, is you have an opportunity to help some other people feel like they matter.
I love that. No, I actually really love this because I've realized I need to, with my relationships, articulate, again, uncomfortable, articulate what I need, right? And I remember when I was really at the height of building my business, I was listening to this podcast. Brandon Bouchard was talking about your busy season. And during your busy season, you have an obligation to your friends and family to be like, look, like, I'm really like my energy, it's crazy. I will come back to you. I might not get back to you right away. Just this whole setup to set up for success during your busy season. And I was thinking, okay, I need to really own my relationships right now. And if I front end it, and just say, hey, I need to talk and I need you to sit with me as I'm going to cry and I don't want a solution. If I were able to really own that communication for my relationships on the front end, I think it would be back ended with a ton of support. And like you're saying, like, yeah, friends to show up and loves and really just love and support to show up where I really need it in my cracks right now.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's about naming it ahead of time. So, like you said, it's saying aloud to your friends. So, here's what's going to happen. You're going to witness me as a different version than you're used to. I'm going to I'm going to give myself permission to show up as needy Mandy, who's dragging and really struggling. And I'm going to allow you to help me. And I hope that feels safe to you. And I hope it feels good to you. And it's what I need right now. And so often as women, we are not good at articulating, here's what I need right now. How does that sound?
It sounds really good. It sounds really transparent and raw. And I want that right now because that's where I am. I feel like because my so much is stretched right now, my bandwidth is stretched so much that I need that support and I need that language and that framework because what I have been feeling from a lot of friends right now is like they downplay what's going on in their lives because this is so big in my life.
Right.
And there, I've always felt like you're going through something, I'm going through something. We can have both. We can have both. We just seem, especially women, I feel like we tend to dilute and water down our struggle so that either it makes the other person feel better or more comfortable or like, and I want to have these kind of conversations, but also all of my friends to also know that they can equally be struggling and it's not less than what I'm struggling with.
And I'm sure your friends are trying to manage that, whether they're even aware of it or not. I'm sure they're quietly trying to manage, like, well, I know with this friend, I can tell her all about the arguing with my husband. And like, I'm even thinking about leaving. But with Mandy, I can't go there because Mandy's got this huge thing. And why would I bother her with my smaller thing? And it's very female. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that for our gender.
No, but like, I'm like, like there are days that I want total distraction. Like I want that. I want to hear, I want to hear
well,
like
it's
what a
about
jerk,
coming out of yourself again. And like, let me focus on someone else because I've become so boring to myself with the repetition,
Truly.
all of my woes, right?
Truly. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's
So,
exactly right.
I have a really big question for you. How does the future look to you right now?
Oh, that's a hard question, I think, because when you don't know what this direction your story's going in, and I always love the comeback story, and that doesn't look like this. It's
well, or it looks like it in a very different way than you had first imagined, right?
for sure. For sure. I think, look, the future looks, there's more dimension in the future of it. And it gives my voice and my experience more dimension, that maybe I can reach, a, a community of people that, I've never reached before. And I feel like the future could also be one of taking a lot of data and learnings and figuring out that even in this unknown, like, of the medical unknown, you can still get to know yourself better. And like whatever's going on the outside, like I can internally get to know parts of myself that maybe because of the busyness and the chaos and the hustle and bustle that I've numbed or have not really tuned into. Because stillness has never been something that I've been comfortable in.
Mhm.
Sitting with really strong feelings is never something that I've been very comfortable in. So I guess the future is one that the part that excites me is that I'm growing. I'm already growing, and I've grown through this period that I never thought possible. So there's going to be growth. There's going to be acceptance, and I think it's just going to make me more compassionate and empathetic to a lot more humans that I never maybe saw before. To be
Mhm.
totally honest, like, dealing with any sort of diagnosis, not putting one over another. When your life changes by, one doctor's appointment, I don't know. You immediately realize there's no guarantees. And that's made me very empathetic to a lot of people because I'm in the shoes of it.
So well said. So well said. Is
Yeah.
is what is your conception of the universe or the ways that some kind of bigger force intervene or present? I think about, I don't know if you ever follow Pima Chodron, but
Hmm.
like that notion of like we keep learning the lessons that we have to learn until we learn them all the way.
Hmm.
They keep
Hmm.
getting presented to us over and over. I see it in my life where I find myself and I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm doing this again. And I'm like, okay, well, universe and Pema Chodron and all of you are like, yeah, because you didn't learn it yet. I
Yeah.
mean, do you think about any of that as you meander through all of this?
Oh, for sure. I do believe in that I have not gotten the lesson. And it's coming at me differently. I, I've actually parked the first belief I had was just like, what did I do? Like, I went to this like very karma kind of like, how horrible of a person am I that I've been handed this? And that did not serve me. And
Good.
that was just like,
Glad you let that one go.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we discussed that. We're like, we're gonna just surrender that
Remember
story.
that. Not
That's
circling
not great.
again.
Partly, I believe that, the lessons come in different ways, different voices, and definitely different volumes. I've always in my life have not gotten it in the whispers. I've not gotten it even. It's usually shouts. And so there's a lot of lessons in this, and there's also some discovery that does actually excite me. Because the way that I'm trying to also transition this message is to say, well, aging is inevitable. You're not always going to be able to do what you've always done. You're not always going to look the way you used to look. Mandy, you're gonna got fast tracked real quick. And so maybe you'll get this lesson real quick too, because, I'm
You'll
pretty
be an
delayed. So
you'll be an expert in aging and you can welcome everyone else. Like, I'm already over here. Come on over.
let
It's
me
not
tell
that
you
bad.
what that's like. Yeah.
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 Yeah, but I do believe that, you know, in the, in all these cracks, there is a lot of strength being let in, even though it feels like a fracture. It's not. It's redefining growth and strength and success. And for a very long time, I thought that strong only looked one way. I thought that success only looks one way. And that's ridiculous. Success is now looking very different every single day. Like today, I was very excited for this conversation. Um, this, this is something I couldn't have done 4 months ago. I wasn't ready to even like put it out in the world because then that makes it true. And I didn't want that to be true,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I'm
So.
thinking about a metaphor I use with the parents in my office about a wet washcloth. And when you wring out a wet washcloth, making sure you're trying to get every single drop out of it. And we talk about when your teenager stumbles and you get through it, what are all of the lessons? What are all of the silver linings that you can highlight? And I always am like, wring out every bit of that washcloth so you know you're getting everything out of it. And I wonder if it's a metaphor that you can apply as you're going through this very difficult time of like trying to, it's not going to be available to you every day for sure. But on the days when it is available to you, trying to see through that lens of like, okay, apparently I'm still ringing out. What are the other lessons I am meant to be getting out of this very difficult period?
I love this metaphor for two major reasons. One, I've always had this notion I want to wring my life out to every last drip, right? So like I've always
So hard.
had that.
Yeah.
I love it. Different. And it applies so perfectly with this diagnosis because it's like, there's so much fluid in my leg. Like, why isn't it just going away? Well, as saturated as it is, every day, if I just do the things and manage it, it's drips and drips and drips, and those drips add up. And so I love applying that to this new chapter to just say, okay, these are going to be different kinds of lessons, takeaways, and
Very
moments, but they
yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad that lens kind of fits for you. So
Big time.
let's think about wrapping up. I could, of course, talk for a long time with you about this.
I know.
If someone listening to this episode is in the midst of managing a big transition right now, a big obstacle right now, what is the message that you would want them to hold on to?
I think the message of it, whatever transition that you're in, don't wait to tell your story on the other side of it. Don't wait until it's perfect or it's fixed, because the courage is really to breathe through it and talk about it in the midst of it as you're going through it, to really feel support, feel say what you need, and say it with a level of conviction, and that there's things that you need, and you're not going to have to be strong all the time. But I guess I would just say, really, like, own it in the transition, own that instead of sitting in the waiting room, just own this is where you're at and this is what you need. I think too many of us really wait for that picture perfect, or I can tell all this 2020. And you and I both really connected over a podcast that Rich Roll did, and he was in the midst of just having back surgery. And I think we both gravitated towards that because I was seeking struggle. I was seeking to hear words of struggle. I was seeking to hear words from people in darkness and how they showed up every day to fight for that light. So I guess whatever transition that you are in, fight for that light, breathe through it and own it when you're in it. 'Cause that's the most courageous step that you could take.
That's beautiful. I agree so much. And it makes me think about an instructor I had one time. I don't know if you and I have talked about this, who said to me, open your kimono. And I love that image of, yeah, if I open my kimono, you're going to see all the imperfect tucked inside, but that's the rich, vulnerable, real me. I've got this like beautiful silk kimono all tied perfectly on the outside. But when I stand up and say, actually, I'm going to open my kimono and you can see inside, that's where all of the real stuff is happening. And I don't know, for some reason, what you just said just made me think of that metaphor.
Totally.
Constantly thinking in metaphors because they're sticky, and so much is not sticky at this age. But anyway, Mandy, I know for a fact that what you have said here will help other people. And for that, I'm just so grateful for your openness and your courage and for your ability to say, yep, even though I don't know how the story ends and I'm right in the middle of it, I still want to share. So thank you so, so much.
Well, it's also a testament to you and the fact that I felt incredible amount of safety and non-judgmental strength from you, and saying, yeah, you're the friend I need in this moment. I've tapped you to say, I want to continue to have conversations to help me show up, to help me find my words and, the song in my heart that I have totally forgotten at times. I think it's a huge testament to what you do and how you do it, that it really makes people like me just feel incredibly fortunate for this moment, to share this conversation with you. So thank you.
I feel that. Thank you. We'll be in touch soon, but all the best, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of How Are You Arriving? Please follow me on Instagram at CMY Therapy. As always, like, follow, and subscribe. See you next time.